It's been the Jubilee, a weekend of celebrations. What does the Queen represent, though? Power, wealth, status, and submission? Or is she the epitome of everything England should be? And what is a Jubilee anyway? You never hear that word anywhere else. Hello there, you 5.6 million awakening wonders. Thank you for joining us on this voyage into limitless light that is already within you, if only we could realize it. If you don't subscribe yet, subscribe now and sign up to my mailing list, because there I inform you of events I'm doing, like the Wim Hof Vandana Shiva one-day event on July the 10th. You can get tickets to spend the day with us. It will be about community, awakening, and practicing the principles that we talk about all the time in these videos. And believe me, man needs his or her symbols. Let's work out what the symbol of the Jubilee really means. You don't have a queen if you're in America because you were willing to kill rather than have one. But let's show you just exactly what you've missed out on.
And today, a triumphant finale to Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee celebration. Today was the final day of what has been a 4-day celebration marking 70 years of Queen Elizabeth's reign.
Now, I watched The Crown, so I've been conditioned. I've grown up here all my life. My grandparents love the Queen. My wife loves the Queen. People love the Queen. The challenge that I have is that if you have a monarchy that has considerable wealth and some influence, it's very difficult for us to discuss alternative ways of organising our social systems. What exactly are we celebrating when we celebrate 70 years of Queen Elizabeth? Now, if you watch The Crown, and I do, and I really like that show, the sort of selflessness of a monarch that sees herself really as the epitome of history and tradition rather than an individual with autonomous power, that's an exciting and fascinating thing. There's particular sentiment around this Jubilee because it's assumed that the Queen, you know, God save the Queen, long live the Queen, will die soon. And when the Queen dies, a lot of our affection for the monarchy may well die with her. King Charles, as he will then be known, shares little of the same warmth. Many people haven't gotten over the death of Diana and still feel kind of dubious and doubtful and even cynical about the conditions of her death. And in a sense, it's mostly working class and ordinary middle class English people whose support is required to sustain the institution of the monarchy. Once the Queen is gone and the money is changed and the stamps are changed, because instead of presidents, we have her on all of them. What are you going to have on this one? Prime Minister? Queen again. What about this penny? Queen, 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 Queen. And then when she dies, we've got to reevaluate our whole social system. To some degree, they know that. So in a sense, while the Jubilee was seen by many as an opportunity for celebration, for me, it's been an opportunity for scrutiny, to examine for a moment, why do we have a monarchy? Of course, to have a nation needs its symbols. Over in America or wherever you are, you have a flag, you have traditions, possibly you have a constitution, you have a set of assumed beliefs. But to have a nation, you have to have ideas of who's excluded from it, who are the enemies and opponents of that nation. And I feel that the people that suffer most from entrenched power and the symbols of power are the people that sort of, oddly enough, flock together around those symbols.
The appearance followed a huge parade through London in the Queen's honor that included the Queen's golden carriage.
There's a crisis in this country post the pandemic. People ain't got enough money. If you were starting from like scratch, would you go, right, okay, there's been a pandemic, a lot of suffering, a lot of poverty, a lot of death. So how many golden carriages are we going to need? Well, at least one for the Queen. Good. But get her a spare just in case. So that's 2 golden carriages. Now, it's no coincidence, of course, that the symbols of the monarchy are allied with military symbols. I got nothing but respect for people that serve in the military. The self-sacrifice, the willingness to work as a team, believing in something bigger than yourself. Great values, magnificent values. But the fact is that power has to be propped up with military might. Continually, you see the soft power of the Queen and the Jubilee and the celebrations and hello, ma'am. And this is perhaps epitomised by a moment we'll show you in a minute with a Queen with Paddington Bear. It's going to blow your little socks off. But then that's backed by hard corporate power. Jets, missiles, bombs, and the way that that power was accumulated in the first place. Taking it from other people, and not just other barons and feudal kings, but ultimately from you, from ordinary people. And in America, or wherever you're watching this, you might think things are different, but you have your own hierarchies, you have your own symbols. Oh, America, we're a republic. Yeah, do you notice that the names Bush and Clinton come up quite a lot in your democracy?
The Queen stepping out once again, her heirs alongside her for a moment that even for them was breathtaking.
Was it breathtaking even for them? Them children look baffled, and how could they not be? I mean, how do you explain it to a child? All right, you're a king. What does that mean? Well, it's pretty crazy, but your whole life's going to be weird. I'll show you what it means. Go on this balcony, see that sea of people. What are they cheering at? Nothing.
A weekend where the Queen has shown us her faith in her family and encouraged us to believe in them too.
Prince Andrew unable to attend because he got COVID. How does he get COVID? Do you get that in close contact with people? Don't know.
Always with one eye on the future.
And the other eye on Andrew, who got COVID somehow. Don't you get that in close proximity with people?
She's once again made history after a spectacular 70 years as Queen.
Do you see that the tone of the news is automatically supportive of power? That's the news. It's meant to be a conduit through which information is relayed. Why don't the newscaster go, it's a celebration of the Queen, 70 years. You should know that there's all this information that's secret and that she has more power than is suggested, and it is a symbol of the oppressive systems that keep you dominated and subjugated. Oh yeah, they can't say that because they're part of the same system. So there you go.
Perhaps you would like a marmalade sandwich.
Now, I find this a little bit offensive because I liked Paddington Bear when I was a little boy, and I don't like being invited to regard myself as a member of the proletariat, even though now, of course, I'm a post-celebrity person, as a kind of like cuddly little bear, grateful to have a cup of tea with a queen. I don't like what I'm being invited to be in this situation. Also, just as a little detail, the guards outside Buckingham Palace wear hats they're literally made out of bear skin.
I always keep one for emergencies.
So do I.
It's super meta, that, isn't it? That you can start now to use the iconography of the Queen in a self-referential and comedic way. The idea that we've been invited to, like, you know, in 70 years of history, where we've been aware that the Queen's got this handbag, that she's got a marmalade sandwich in there. Now, I know it's kind of just a joke, but also this is an attempt to modernise the Queen, to galvanise sentiment around the monarchy and the royal family, because a lot of people imagine that when Her Majesty the Queen, God rest her soul, long live the Queen, dies, that the monarchy will be in a great deal of trouble. So you have to modernise our attitudes. You have to galvanise and defibrillate our flagging sentiment for institutions that ultimately, however you look at it, represent a degree of repression and an uneconomic and unexpedient use of resources.
I keep mine in here. For later.
Although you might find that rather charming, and I don't blame you if you do, because it's very sweet and very well made and some brilliant people have worked on it. But the reality is that that's a very old, very rich lady telling an empty space that I keep a sandwich in my bag for later. And these condoms, who are they for? Oh, one of my children. As well, if you've worked in television, you'll know that there would have been a bit where someone came out with a microphone and went, OK, we're going to need you to cheer now for 10 seconds. So the whole thing is a spectacle. None of it's real. The Queen is talking to nothing. Paddington Bear is a computer-generated, albeit beautifully rendered, cartoon creation. The crowds aren't really cheering anything. Of course, they've turned up to celebrate, but I believe that the way these symbols function, whether it's patriotism of this country or any country, is by finding your inner resources, your spirit, your love, your sense of connection and tribalism, your willingness to sacrifice and serve in a community, and sort of oddly welding it to a symbol that is sometimes inappropriate. And I would say it is inappropriate if it encourages inequality and it encourages a kind of blankness of mind and a lack of willingness to inquire about the nature of your reality. So what is the Jubilee really? A delicate balance, a tightrope walk between, oh, we're just like you, we're normal, we're the nation's grandma, we're the nation's family, and also, but we're not like you because we want you to continue to pay for us out of your tax. We want you to not question how much wealth there is. We want you not to question the social systems that we're part of. And I say all of this not necessarily from an anti-monarchistic perspective, just an invitation to inquire. How is your country shaped? How does power treat you? What is your relationship to the symbols around you? If you're an English person or a British person, or you live in this country, and like me, you felt weird during the Jubilee, perhaps it's because you were being invited to participate in a spectacle that might not necessarily be good for you, and it's certainly distracting you from a couple of years that have been really, really weird. A lot of unusual military action, a lot of weird biopolitical, medical stuff that's been odd, and you should be perhaps questioning power now more than you ever have. Questioning where power comes from, questioning how power is rendered, not just blindly thinking, oh, it's the Queen, it's Paddington Bear, it's people with flags. We're not children.
Happy Jubilee, ma'am. And thank you for everything.
I bet a lot of people cried there, and if you did cry, perhaps it's because of your relationship with your own mother, or the loss of your own grandparents, or the fact that you're aware of getting older, and nostalgia, which literally means our pain, a sense of loss. But to try and coalesce that meaning and that sadness and that grief that you doubtlessly feel around symbols of power, I think it's sort of manipulative and a little unfair. And again, I'm not like anti-Queen, let's go storm the palaces in a boiler suit with psychedelic paraphernalia embroidered on it. That's not what I'm about at all. I don't care what you believe in loads of ways, but I do care that you inquire about what you're being fed by the machine that seeks to keep you wedded and welded to systems of dominance and ignorance. So Paddington Bear looking down the barrel going, thank you for everything. Well, let's have a look at some of the things we're thanking the monarchy for. The idea is that the Queen's power is largely symbolic, but more than 1,000 laws have been vetted by the Queen or Prince Charles through a secretive procedure before they were approved by the UK's elected members of Parliament. I don't want to be some sort of Jubilee Grinch. Bar humbug, fucking Jubilee. I just want you to know what's real. I want you to know what's real, the same way as I'd invite you to appreciate that I'm weird and flawed and selfish and have all sorts of problems. Reality, don't be afraid of it. The huge number of laws subject to royal vetting cover matters ranging from justice, social security, pensions, food policy, through to obscure rules on car parking charges and hovercraft. We need more hovercraft, do we? Yes, I keep a jam sandwich in my pocket. Okay, Mum. They include draft laws that affected the Queen's personal property, such as her private estates in Balmoral and Sandringham, and potentially anything deemed to affect her personally. Well, how can she have private estates in Balmoral and Sandringham? Investigate that for a moment. What do you mean private? Where did they come from? Who funds them? Who does it belong to, really? The database illustrates that the opaque procedure of the Queen's consent has been exercised far more extensively than was previously believed. Under the procedure, government ministers privately notify the Queen of clauses in draft parliamentary bills and ask for her consent to debate them. Now, with the mess that is American politics and British politics, you might say, well, I'd rather have the Queen involved than some of these dopes that we keep electing to positions of prominence and power. And possibly you're right. I'm not even arguing with that. Again, transparency instead of opacity. Openness instead of closedness, equal relationships and democratic relationships rather than paternal, matriarchal or patriarchal relationships where you are essentially a child. You're a child of the state. You don't know. We better censor your free speech. We better not show you that information. You won't understand it. What's that like? Who do you treat like that in your life? Children. As part of a series investigating the use of the consent procedure, The Guardian has published documents from the National Archives that reveal the Queen has on occasions used the procedure to privately lobby the government. The investigation uncovered evidence suggesting that she used the procedure to persuade government ministers to change a 1970s transparency law in order to conceal her private wealth from the public. Why would that be? Why are they showing you, here she is putting an ham sandwich in her knapsack. Tell us how much money you've got. There's barely any room for this sandwich. It's stuffed with fucking jewels and money with my head on it. The document also shows that on other occasions, the monarch's advisors demanded exclusions from proposed laws relating to road safety and land policy that appeared to affect her estates and pressed for government policy on historic sites to be altered. Some of the bills the Queen reviewed before they were passed by Parliament relate to wealth or taxation. One of the richest families in Britain, with the monarch's property investments exempt from inheritance tax and collections of fine art and jewellery built up over centuries, the Windsors are notoriously guarded about their finances because they want us to see them as sort of gentle, cuddly, familial symbols that we've known about all our life. Oh, they visited bomb sites during the East End. They're friendly. And again, I'm not saying that these are fundamentally bad people. I'm talking about systemic problems. Members of the Windsor family can have their will sealed from the public, unlike any other family in Britain, ensuring an unmatched level of secrecy around their private wealth. So it's not inoffensive, is it? Like whatever else that is, that's real power, real secrecy. And even aside from that, even aside from the things that are literally described in this article, it has an effect on you psychologically. That's why you might tear up when Paddington says, thank you, Mum, because it's bolted onto systems of control. We're still monkeys in some ways. We respond to symbols of power. We respond to snakes and fire and heights. There's stuff in our system that we don't know how it works, how it controls us, but they know. No confirmed figure of the Windsors' family wealth exists, though estimates have placed it at hundreds of millions of pounds. In 2014, for example, the Queen and the heir to the throne screened the Inheritance and Trustees Powers Bill. 2 years earlier, she vetted trusts, capital and income bill. Trusts are legal arrangements often used by wealthy families to protect their assets from both tax and public scrutiny. This is a time where I believe we should be awakening, where we should be living in true, real democracies, where we aren't treated like children. I don't believe there should be ongoing wars. I don't believe there should be foreign campaigns that are veiled attempts to continue imperial and colonial power. I believe we should have relationships with people in positions of leadership that are clear and open. So again, this is not why don't we all get shot at the monarchy or let's get shot at the president or any of that kind of stuff. That's reductive, simplistic, binary thinking. What I'm interested in is truth and openness and the deep and difficult reality that truth is in some ways different for all of us, that you might have requirements in life that are different from my requirements in life. So the maximum amount of individual and collective and local freedom is better. The more any centralised, coalescent, coagulated power is ultimately going to be bad for people. Some people already have an instinctive cynicism towards the institution of monarchy. In a recent cup final, like our version of the Super Bowl, the FA Cup final, this happened. Is it okay to boo the national anthem? Is it okay? Because some people from working class communities in the north of England, specifically in this case Merseyside, the city of Liverpool, are beginning to question, well, what is our connection to the nation? What has the nation done for us? Are we better embedding ourselves into these systems of power? Or would it be better if Liverpool was an independent principality where we had our own budgets, our own control, our own crafts, where we separate away from globalism and the agents of globalism and start to create our own communities? Oh, there'd be such costs, there'd be such prices. Yeah, change means change. Things would change if there was change. And not all of that change would be immediately better. There would be challenges. But I find it fascinating that already people are starting to question the paraphernalia of power. Its anthems, its songs, its hymns and its symbols, because you have to question it. Changing the world will mean things will be different. What you're always offered is just tweaks on the dial. If instead of this leader, we gave you this leader, would that make you happy? Okay, that's a change. Instead of this old guy, how about this old guy? Or this will blow your mind, how about a woman one? Will she basically work for the same systems? Will everything behind her be the same? Will the funding be the same? Will the congressional funding and the stock market stuff all be the same? Yes. But longer hair though. Again, note the presence of the military. Soft power, always with hard power. Hey, join in, you're part of something. And if you don't join in, we got another suggestion. The people from London, Queen. It's somewhat geographical as a matter of fact, but I would argue that people of ordinary working backgrounds have a lot more to gain from significant changes in our power structures than they have to lose, no matter where they live.
I think one side of the stadium enjoyed that more than the other.
So what a wonderful Jubilee it's been. A chance for people to come together, street parties, celebration, home crafts, great things, fantastic things. And if you want some positive things about the Queen, endurance, a willingness to perform a duty. If you want positive things about paraphernalia and national symbols, it's great for people to have a sense of oneness and connectedness. But it would be great if that oneness and connectedness was built around values that we could all share in. Fairness, equality, goodwill, service, love, togetherness. I'm not anti-hierarchy. I recognise people are different and good at things and bad at things, and that's going to have outcomes and results. But what I don't think we should blindly do is just obey a centralised myth that ultimately contributes to a lack of freedom. But it's a question that I'm bringing to you. That's just what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below what the royal family means to you, how it compares to the power structures in your country. Do you think power should be decentralised in every way? What do you think the role of the media is in this? How do you feel about the media giving them such a soft ride, never asking any real questions? What does that make you feel? Does it make you think that they operate collaboratively with one another? How do you feel this stuff shakes down? Give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe to this channel. I want every single one of you to subscribe if that is indeed possible. Please sign up to my mailing list, and remember, you can come to a one-day event on July the 10th with me, Vandana Shiva, and Wim Hof, where we talk about new ways to organise communities, new ways to organise power, new ways to collaborate and communicate together. And every penny that we make will go to good causes around drug addiction and mental health. Please sign up to the mailing list there. More important than any of that stuff is that you, if you can, please stay free.